here locally in the community. Make sure y'all go check out New Cat Body by Jeremy Jones.
Good evening and welcome to the NFL Roundtable Talk here on Lions Talk with Smoke and Jeremy B. I got my good friends Megan Gallcrocker, B. Strilla the Thrilla, and Ralph Williams here. Megan is going to be repping her Seahawks, and of course the other guys, they're just with me.
I'm zipping lemmings off the cliff, JB. But, oh, well, sorry.
Go ahead. Talk your stuff.
No.
I know you won 4 in a row versus Detroit over the past few years. But that coach is not here except in an advisory role. And I'll leave it at that.
Yes, for any Mariners fans, we just got pantsed by Cleveland 8-0 in the baseball. I'm not looking at that right now.
Now I might have to talk crap the whole show now.
Yeah. Please do. I'm a long time M's fan, and I'm going to start.
Guardians.
I know.
Yeah, you got beat by the Guardians.
I know. So please talk crap about the M's because
we really can't talk crap anyway, JB, because the Tigers just got swept by Atlanta. And they scored over 3 games. They scored 1 run.
Here's my golf clap, small round of applause for them.
Right. 1 run.
Donkey Kong in the chat. Super Bowl.
Hey, Donkey Kong, Orlando. RX, what is good, friends? Good to see you all.
So, the owners, there's a rumor going that they want to put a cap on the QB salaries, and I kind of agree with it because they are getting a little out of control.
Yes, 100%. They are.
100%.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly, everyone, because I'm going to tell you, it's getting really out of control with quarterbacks, but not just quarterbacks. They might need to do that if that works. I could see the NFL doing it with other positions. Look at wide receivers as well. That has gotten out of hand. So I mean, as far as salaries go and stuff.
After the debacle that was the Russell Wilson trade to Denver from Seattle, which we 12s called the gift that keeps on giving to us.
Right.
That wasn't the debacle that started the whole situation.
I realize it wasn't.
Deshaun Watson going to Cleveland debacle.
I realize that it wasn't.
Deshaun Watson, that was a horrible trade there. Whoever did that, I'm glad they got fired. Because that was terrible.
No, I realize it wasn't that big, but I'm saying it didn't help. The fact they paid him $280 million, Russell I'm referring to, Ralph, right. $280 million before he played a game, and we 12s in Seattle are screaming, don't do it for the love of God. And, I'm not one of these people to say, told you so, but we kind of did.
Yeah.
I would support it, but how's it going to work, though? I mean, I like the idea of it, and I think it would work.
Well, it would work. It's all about the owners, and it's all about the union. The union might say, "Hey, wait a minute, we can't be doing this." But then again, the NFL has a weak union to begin with. We don't even know who the union president is these days. I stopped following it after Gene Upshaw.
The union president is a Detroit player, actually.
Oh, okay.
President of the NFLPA is Jalen Reeves-Maben.
Oh, I remember him. Yeah, okay, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, after Gene Upshaw stepped down, I lost track of who it was. I mean, because I thought he was the best one of them all. You know.
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
I thought Paul Tagliabue was the best commissioner, but what do I know?
Yeah,
he was. You know why? He didn't get in the way of football being played like football.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and he didn't cave. He didn't cave into Roger Goodell and the owners either, Jeremy. He didn't do any of that, and that was the nice part about him. And he was tough, like the Raiders, tough.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so what they're talking about and yes, it seems like every year the market resets value-wise. That's what they're trying to stop. They're sitting there and they're trying to get it at that percentage. And CTE was unavoidable, but the way they handled it at first was god awful. I'm not going to lie, and that went from that started with Tagliabue and then went to Goodell. And the way they handled that when all of it started to come out once Mike Webster passed and his brain was tested and everything, that whole thing was handled awfully.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was. Yes, it was.
So we can talk crap about them all we want, but when
well, you know what, Jeremy, I could sit here and tell you a whole bunch of stories. I was Mike Webster's personal cab driver.
Wow.
He told me some stories about playing Chuck Noll, the training camps, the way he conducted business, and his head was messed up from all that hitting and everything. He couldn't get medication in Pittsburgh. I had to drive him to West Virginia to get his meds.
Right. Because
so I mean,
the regulations and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, and Terry Long, he killed himself. He drank antifreeze. He was a lineman for the Steelers, and not a bad one. Justin Stralzik, he killed himself. He was another one. He was part of that movie Concussion. Okay, now the way they put Mike Webster in Concussion did not happen that way. Mike Webster died in a hospital. Okay, I know this because, like I said, I was his personal cab driver. And when he was in the hospital, his son told me that he wasn't doing well, and he died at the hospital. The antifreeze thing where they showed that that's at the oh gosh, it's in Rankin, part of Allegheny County, and the mills there, whatever that old mill was there, they have it there. Merrick Kingstown's filmed there too. So I mean, but the Kerry furnace, the Kerry furnace. That's where they had him dying there, but he didn't die like that. Like he didn't. They have him in concussion.
CTE and concussions have been huge in rugby. My brother had an accident not playing rugby and nearly was killed. So I can understand, as one who has seen that happen and the effects with my brother, I can understand the concern. But at the same time, I also want to see football. Like, if you want them bubble wrapped, okay, that's, as I said, my brother, we were told if his brain hit the side of his skull half an inch more, he was dead. So I get it. It's same with boxing, Muhammad Ali and all of that.
Right.
But when is being too safe, if you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, they're wearing those rubber helmets on top, or that rubber stuff on top of a helmet during practice and stuff. I get it.
But we don't wear helmets in rugby, and there's some of the hardest hits you feel, in the nosebleed section. So I don't mind them wanting to keep players safe. Okay. But when's enough?
I need to address the chat. I've been trying to for a minute.
Oh, sorry, Jeremy.
Yeah.
I'm
CTA was unavoidable. What was the catalyst? Sayal. It actually was the suicide before Sayal. There was a lesser player that committed suicide that started all this stuff well before Sayal. And I believe it was the one you were talking about, the guy that drank the antifreeze, the other lineman.
Terry Long. Yes, Terry Long.
Right.
Yeah.
That was when it started. And it actually started when Mike Webster died in the hospital. That doctor, the one from Africa that studied here in America, found the CTE in Mike Webster's brain and then started doing testing subjects on other people that had committed suicide or died recently or had brain trauma.
Right.
And he started doing it and found the thing and then started looking at it and then started looking at boxers' brains that they had on file. And that's how it all got to where it did. It had to do with everything up to that point. not just Junior Seau. By the time Junior Seau, to the outside looking in, it looks like that was the catalyst. That was the icing on the cake that got it.
Oh, by the way, the doctor that he practiced with, Dr. Cyril Weck, passed away about a week ago here in Pittsburgh. He was 93 years old. So,
wow.
Yeah, Dr. Weck is a world-renowned pathologist. He did John Benet Ramsey. He did the autopsy on Kennedy. So, I mean, he's a well-known guy. Yeah. Sad. 93 years old, but at least he lived that long.
93 is a good life.
93 is a life well lived.
Right.
Yeah, he was our medical examiner for a little while too.
And Will Smith did a wonderful job playing that guy in that movie.
I was about to say,
yes, he did.
I'm not
Will Smith did a great job.
Yeah,
and Alec Baldwin played a good role. He played a really good role in there too, Jeremy. He was, that doctor or whatever, the scientist or whatever he was doing.
He was the head of the AMA at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't he like the naysayer in the movie?
Yeah.
He was the one talking all the crap.
Count it all and get him disbarred from the American Medical Association. He was trying to get that doctor kicked out because he thought he was stupid. And he goes, "You're trying to take away the biggest cash cow in sports." Because at that time, that was when football was finally rising up above everything at that time.
I think that with CTE, it's a thing that's unavoidable in football because you do have so many collisions. And I think what football does, professional football, in my opinion, this goes along with the whole cap situation. Actually, what these players need to do is play for 10 years. That's it. You play for 10 years, that's all you get to play, 10 years. And then that way that'll cut down on injuries. I'm not saying it's going to get rid of them, but it's going to cut down on injuries, long-term injuries. Then the NFL, all this money the NFL is making, forget going over there to overseas. No offense, Megan. Forget going to overseas and putting NFL teams over there. Why don't you use that money, put it into a kitty, so that if there are players that come out within that time period that have CTE or issues of that nature, that can go to their medical bills and taking care of their families. I think a lot of people are blowing this up over it. This is a rough sport. It's a gladiator type sport. Injuries are going to happen. Gruesome injuries are going to happen. People have been known, well, not many. One person, there was a lion that died on the field way back in the day. So those things can happen. But players players make a bunch of money. They make a whole heck of a lot of money. Okay, and they make money to play a child sport. It's a child sport. And you don't see doctors and firefighters and police officers who risk their life every day or save lives every day.
Military. Military too, Dylan.
Military.
They don't make enough money.
You got to put things in perspective when it comes to that. If the NFL wants to be safe, don't let your players play more than 10 years. I know that'll suck, but if you got enough things going on in the background where the NFL can teach these players to how to use their money, how to spend their money, blah, 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 put them in classes. If they got to go to school to get a traditional education where they're going to do something after they get out of football, do that kind of stuff. That's where the money needs to go. Money does not need to go to extracurricular stuff and just let's build the best helmet. I don't give a damn what kind of helmet you have. You're still going to get CTE. You can get that anyway. So let's the helmet safety, I'm not going to poo-poo it either. It's just come on. Let's send
them to some financial classes, because I'm going to tell you what, Deion Sanders' son has just filed for bankruptcy, and that's in college. Okay, so and these NFL players that blow all their money, I'll give you an example. Joe Gilliam, when he played for the Steelers, he sold his Super Bowl ring and pawned it at a pawn shop because he was broke. And died.
Deion Sanders' son there's no excuse for that, because first of all, his father came from the NFL. He was making all kinds of money.
Deion Sanders' son's filed for bankruptcy because he's making too much from the NIL.
NIL, yeah.
Right.
And
wait,
see that. Oh,
Please,
hang on,
let's
Jeremy.
talk one at a time instead of talking over each other so we can actually hear the complete thought. And every time I've tried to say something, somebody else brings up another topic. So we got to
So
start
go ahead,
direct.
Jeremy.
Yeah, I just want to start directing it a little more.
Go ahead.
We got Joshua Dore coming in. What's going on, my communist leader, Smoking Jay? How you doing, Joshua Dore? Sorry that the Oilers forced a game 5 for you. You guys couldn't do the Boston thing. Well, you did exactly the Boston thing. You lost game 4. But anyways, and not the practice players. No, in order to be fully vested. But at the same time, with the amount of money that even a bench rider makes right now, look at the Lions roster. Look at the cheapest guy on there. It's $795,000 a year. If they want lifetime insurance, guess what? All they got to do is put away $100K a year. That's it. Put away $100K a year in a mutual money marketing fund with a 1 to 4% monthly yield. So therefore, off of that 100,000 that they invest per year, they're going to make 1,000 to 4,000 every month. It averages out to like just under 2%. So therefore, they're going to make another 2,000. So they can make an extra 2,000 a year per 100,000 they invest. And if they invest 100,000 a year as a bench rider for 5 years, that's when you're fully vested in the NFL. And that's when you do get lifetime insurance. That's included now if you are a fully vested player in the NFL. That means they got 500,000 now as the principal. And then they can be making 10,000 per year minimum in actual interest and only have to pay taxes on that, because that's post-tax dollars I'm talking about that they're putting in that account. And it works like a checking account. So if you have a big bill and you have to write something, guess what? You got something to fall back on. Instead of buying cousin Thomas' car, Aunt Judy a house, mom needs a house, dad needs a house because they're divorced, of course.
No,
taking care of immediate families is fine.
Yeah, I understand. I'm just saying that they quit spending their money on everybody else and worry about themselves and their future. Every single one of these guys would never have to worry about anything if they just did that. And if you're making millions, triple it. Put 300,000 away. What's that? That's a drop in the bucket. I'm tired of hearing people say, "Oh, these players are broke once they get out of the NFL," because they were stupid.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And you know what, Jeremy? I think the NFL should have financial classes for these athletes, and as soon as they come into the NFL, make them go to these classes, and and stuff like that. They
do have a symposium.
They do have some classes in the NFL about your financial.
Are they compulsory?
They do that when they're rookies. Yeah, rookies have a symposium that they have a financial thing about. Regardless, people are going to be people. Players are going to be players. They're going to do what they're going to do with their money, right, wrong, or indifferent. But like somebody said, the players did want to have some kind of a kitty to put in for medical insurance, in case, because not everybody makes $1 million.
No,
year.
Not at all.
And some people make the league minimum, and if you give them the 10-year option to be in the league for 10 years, either going to have to raise the salary a little bit up so that everybody gets a fair share at everything, or I don't know how they'll work that out. I think 10 years for a player is fine. You get all these players coming out of school. You get all these players opportunities. Football would be a lot better that way to me if you just allow these kids. You wouldn't have a guy sitting in there 40 years old have to worry about, do we have to pay him? He's 40 and he might get killed out there because he's 40. I know Tom Brady did what he did. I know there's quite a lot of players do what they do at that age, but you got to cut this off. This is the sport is getting faster, and the hits are getting harder. You need to cut down something.
The only position you really don't have to police like that is kicker.
True.
How many players, though, would have those 10-year career, like 5 years to 10 years option, I could see. But if you could say, right, Jeremy, you've got 10 years, do what you do. What if you fall off after year 4, 5, 6, 7?
No, the average lifespan in the NFL is 3.5 years. So
That's what I'm
therefore,
saying. Yeah.
if you wash out, you get nothing. But if you make it past that 5th year, you can go to the 10th year. Is what he's saying.
Oh, sorry. Right. I see what
Right.
you're saying. Yeah,
People
I
that
thought you
wash
said
out,
10
wash
years.
out.
Is
There's
the,
very few
oh,
people that actually go past 5 years in
right.
the.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
RXJ wanted to ask me a question here. Did Zach Frazier have a good rookie camp? Yes, he did.
Yep. You guys played him a little at guard and tackle as well, didn't you? Because of the depth
Yes.
of the team.
Yeah.
Right. I thought I read that. So let's
Yeah.
get in.
James Daniels is not coming back after this contract. He's done. So.
Right. Yeah, that's why you had to play him at guard, because more than likely your center's still there for another 2 years, I believe, who
Yes.
actually did okay
Herbert.
last year. And then this guy leaves, so he could actually step in.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right. The
Absolutely.
ideal
And we got that Mark
career
McCormick
season.
from South Dakota State we just drafted.
Right.
He's having a good camp. So
Dylan McCormick, I don't know if B remembers when they were doing their mock drafts, and every time it came to be, oh yeah, okay, Vanilla Vic wants him. Oh, that's great. I love these guys sometimes and their nicknames.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, kickers usually really don't get
Jeff
banged
Saturday
up. RX.
out of the league for almost 10 years now. Why are you talking about guys that were never been?
Well, I got to say this though. If you take a look right now, the NFL player's lifespan right now has been 6 to 8 years. Most of these guys are getting out within like 6 to 8 years, and they're probably banking their money. And like Chuck Noll said, don't make this your life's work. And so everybody that ever played for the Steelers in the 70s, except for a few guys, all have their own businesses. They all are doing well in some things, and so that's the lifespan right now, especially if a running back or a wide receiver.
But is that the rule or the exception to the rule, Ralph, that they've all invested their money, have their businesses or whatnot? Because to me, the NIL, you give these young, and I know what I'd be like at 18 with $1 million in my hand,
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the young fellows at college don't deserve the money, but I'm saying you give an 18-year-old $1 million, what are they going to do? Or most of them, I won't say all of them. So is it, there was a question in the chat, is it on the NFL or is it on the colleges for these?
It's on the colleges right now, because you know what? They should have never done this NIL, and now they have to put a cap on it because it's getting out of control. So
If anybody's watched Motor City Mania and it's not spelled wrong on the channel like it is here in the chat, you would know that David Pike would never say that Goff is an average quarterback. I have to
no, he's not. No, he's
I
not.
have to laugh
I
every
mean, he
time.
might. Right. But he's.
But
I think he deserves that contract he got. Golf. I mean,
let's say hypothetically, the average player lasts 3 years fully. You know that for a fact. And at the minimum, they're making almost $800,000, right? That's $2.4 million. So if they were smart and invested that 15%, I said, per year, in that 3 years, they'd have a $300,000 principal in there, right? Which means they get to live off of $3,000 to $12,000 a month the rest of their life if they don't touch the principal.
Right. Yeah.
So if you think about that, $12,000, let's say, okay, let's average it out. It ends up being almost 5.3 million in the middle there is what it'll end up being, just under the 50% mark. So 5.3 thousand a month. So therefore they're going to make a minimum of 60,000 a year. $60K a year, I could live high on the hog because right now I'm getting by on
I
25,000.
absolutely could with money to spare to travel.
Right, I would have money to spare is what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
And my
absolutely.
friend Jordan, the Patriot Media channel. How you doing, Jordan?
Hey, Jordan.
Look at there. It's
You hear me?
Jordan. What's up, buddy?
So-
Hey there.
Our nickname for him is Jordan Edelman. That is the illegitimate caller's stepchild of Julian Edelman.
Yes.
I was going to query it. I was going to query it, but thought my fragile little Seahawks mind didn't need to know that this early in the morning, JB. But thank you for the clarification, sir.
Hey, it was great seeing your dad roast Bill Belichick. That was awesome.
And can we say Bill Belichick on that roast got off real lightly? I'm
But
just saying.
not when Edelman got up there. Man, that was great.
Oh, that was brutal. Whatever.
He
It
goes,
was my sarcastic sense of humor writ
"Hey,
large.
coach, I've been waiting a long time to say this, you asshole."
Did you see, actually, speaking of Bill Belichick, I don't know if you boys saw it, in the press, he got caught on CCTV, on Ring cameras, sneaking out of his 24-year-old girlfriend's house.
Yes.
Wow,
Got a
you
girlfriend.
They
old
made it
Bill.
public, and it isn't. They are items. They made it public.
You old sly dog Belichick. Wow, 24.
When you got the kind of money he's got at 74 years old, you can afford a 24-year-old girlfriend.
Yes.
Only one, though, JB. Only one? Well, it's high maintenance.
Only one that we know of. I'm not going to say there's more.
I'm not going to say any more than that, but watch his bank accounts. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I thought, well done, Bill. You
As far as Goff is concerned, and this is my observations, Bees kind of said the same exact thing to me. Goff is as good as the sum of the parts around him, and the sum of the parts around him in Detroit is pretty good. Hey, it's Edelman on Wish, or is it Temu?
It's both, I believe, Orlando, but don't quote me on that.
I think Wish is actually the lesser version of Temu now. Temu's more popular than Wish, so.
This headset came from Temu.
Hey, I got a headset in here from Temu.
I think I've got one from there too.
Great
I haven't used it yet.
I got my shirt with the stick figure, like you see when he's screwing the word "it" on the back of the cars. It says "F your feelings" or "F fuck your feelings" Friday that I do, and that's where I take and I get all the funniest memes of the week and do a little 5-minute section just posting up the memes that I've seen against the other teams in the NFC North.
Oh, I'm glad you didn't say NFC West, my friend. I am very glad you didn't.
That's waiting until like just before we play them. You wait till you see the ones I got for Seattle.
Hey, I've got the perfect one. It's the Seahawk with the middle finger saying, "Got your seat chickens right here, brother."
Yeah, you guys still remember the Eagles. Okay, you've seen it before.
Anyway,
I winked when I said it.
Yeah, I know you did. I saw it.
But so what do you think about them? The owners are rumoring and there's clamorings that they want to put a cap on quarterback contract, the salary cap on it. I kind of agree with it, and I think it should be set right at what Pat Mahomes made after his restructure, because he restructured his contract. There's 2 void years at the end where all he makes is $45 million through the remainder of that 10-year contract, and I think he deserves that 100%. And I think
he won some Super Bowls. I mean, a guy like that, he deserves it.
Here's something I wish the NFL would do. As soon as you sign a contract, you're not allowed to go back on the contract.
Right.
But that's legal contract. You shouldn't.
You can't. Like, if you sign a deal for $45 million, you can't take a pay cut. You have to stay on that.
What about if your team needs you to take a pay cut after you've signed, though?
You already signed a contract. Once you sign a contract, it should be done. It should be a done deal.
No, that's what.
Well, if that's the case, then you know what they need to do? The players need to play their whole contract. There ain't no, I'm going to hold out because I'm going to.
That's what I'm saying. They may force players to play, and then basically everybody gets whatever you get paid. You get paid. You sign the contract. You're the one that signed the contract. No matter if the next guy gets paid more than you or not.
Right. And that's the same with the franchise tag, if you think about it. Ever since Le'Veon Bell, these people hold out. They get halfway through camp, and then they realize, man, I'm not going to make as much to go to another team next year if I don't play. Like what happened to Le'Veon Bell, a top 5 running back in the league, and he was scheduled to make like $20 million a year.
Yeah, good point.
Franchise tag.
And
That
Le'Veon Bell wasn't the same once he set out either.
No, he wasn't.
Once he set, he was done. Like he went downhill after that.
Like if you say I signed a contract for $45 million, and you sit on that contract and go, yeah, fine, that's the contract. Then I bust a shoulder and a leg and I'm out. How am I going to fulfill the contract terms then? Because I'm
exactly. Well, you know what? You know what, Jeremy? Le'Veon Bell got big egg on his face. I mean, he should have never did that. And now you have what I call a ripple effect, and that means like it's kind of like a monkey see, monkey do kind of thing. Now you got other players doing it because he did it. But then, they had to realize, like Jeremy said as well, that they have to come back to this, because if they don't take that and hold out like that, teams are not going to sign you. And then you're going to sit out, and then you're going to be like Le'Veon Bell, bagging groceries, boxing, or whatever he's doing,
So, but what about the injuries, though? I signed the contract in good faith, thinking, yes, I will play for.
Well, that's what the guaranteed part of contracts are for. If you actually read it, anything that's guaranteed, it's either guaranteed by a snap count or it's a fully guaranteed section of the contract. The fully guaranteed one means no matter what, you get hurt, that money's yours.
Right. I'm sure that there's some kind of injury clause in that in any contract. I mean, when it comes to an athlete, there has to be something like that in there.
Well, that's the problem too. All these contracts are guaranteed money. Like Deshaun Watson's contract ruined the quarterback markets.
Well, in all actuality, it was the contract that was signed 2 weeks before that ruined the quarterback market. That was Kyler Murray.
Yeah, well, Watson's really big because he was coming off a year where he didn't even play for like a year and a half, and then he gets like what, $120 million guaranteed.
Something like that, 125.
Yeah, RXJ said if Bell and AB stayed in Pittsburgh, they could have won a Super Bowl. If they got past New England before KC became KC, they could have won a bowl in that era. Yes, exactly, RXJ. That's correct. So both of them ended up with egg on their face, and one's bankrupt.
And at the same time, I like and I don't like the deal for Pittsburgh of signing Tomlin to the 3-year extension. Even though he's never had a losing season, here's where I'm going to go with this. The only time he won a Super Bowl was with the leftovers of the Bill Cowher era.
His players, Jeremy, yes, absolutely. And let me say this. I've called him mediocre Mike for a long time, because how in the world do you give a guy an extended contract who hasn't won a Super Bowl since 2008, okay, or 9 or whatever, okay? With Cowher's players. His players that he's drafted with Kevin Colbert, our former GM, has turned into busts, and that's it. I mean, it's been really horrible. And the coaches he brings in are all yes men.
The market really doesn't decide the player's worth. It's their agents.
I was going to say agents, 100%.
Agents are the ones that are pushing these higher salaries. Because I think, honestly, that if we'd have offered Goff $45 million, no trade clause, and the 60% guaranteed to begin with, he'd have signed it then. The no trade clause was the linchpin, because Goff has said repeatedly it wasn't about the money.
Right.
Do you believe that, though?
Well, some people, Jeremy, they like to be where they're at. I mean, sometimes the grass isn't always greener on the other side. You might go to another team and find out the coach hates your guts. Look what happened to Russell Wilson.
I was going to say Russell. Yeah.
You know what solves a lot of these issues though? Winning helps.
Yes.
Winning.
Yep. Yeah, winning helps. But a lot of these teams, we've had this discussion many times before, Jeremy, me and you, about how teams are built. Teams need to be built with an owner that's going to want to win games. If you got owners out there just saying, "Ooh, I got a football team. I think I'm just going to put asses in seats and get some money," like William Clay Ford was at first. He would just
Chris
play
Greer.
Anderson's seat.
Chris Greer.
And then you got like New England, Kansas City are good structured. Pittsburgh's always been a good structured organization until lately. But
no, I agree with you on that. I'm not going to deny that.
A lot of people, it's like Dallas. Dallas has all the talent in the world. People make fun of Dallas so much, but they do have the talent in the world to be in the Super Bowl. They either have two things working against them: their owner, who needs to quit. He just needs to sell the team.
Oh, he's still going.
Give it to your brother. Do something.
Let the Suns run the team. Let his sons or somebody. Yeah,
right. Because you're just making too much of you're trying to be profiling, and that's not good for the owner.
That's not what you want.
When you want to profile like that, be winning the Super Bowl. When you want to profile, don't bother with the team's affairs. The GM, and let the GM handle the situation. Let the coach handle the situation, and then pick a good coach too. And McCarthy is not a good coach. I don't care what nobody says. He's not a good coach. He's a good enough coach to win, but he's not a good enough coach to get past certain points. Okay?
Right, exactly.
The only reason why he's so successful because he had Aaron Rodgers before. Aaron Rodgers basically made his coaching career. Other than that, he's crap. Get rid of the coach. That's what they need to do. Dallas is a good team. They got great players on that team. It's just when it comes to the playoffs, they're not motivated. It all comes down to what I see with the Lions all the time. When they were bad because they had bad ownership, down to bad coaching, down to bad players because nobody know how to pick nothing. Now that we have that now, you see what difference it makes in a team. So, and I can tell you, Jordan can say the same thing about New England. You got good ownership, good coaching, good players. All that goes out. They've won 6 championships. You know what I'm saying? So, the proof's in the pudding about ownership. Everybody can't win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, look at Jeffrey Lurie. Look at Jeffrey Lurie in Philly. He wants Nick Sirianni to win a Super Bowl this year. He gets fired. And he brought in some good coordinators to do this and some players. But let's see what happens in Philly. I mean, I wouldn't want to be there.
Did you see what happened last year in Philly when they lost the 2 coordinators that became head coaches?
Yeah. Paul Allen in Seattle. That's all I'm saying. He was.
Look at Chris Greer. Chris Greer's been around 30 years.
I'm trying to say something now for a few minutes, but look at this. Nick Sirianni will not be the coach in Philly because they're not getting to the Super Bowl.
That's right.
100%. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it right now. I see them getting a second-round exit this year at best.
If they're lucky.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Not at first, but
Jalen Hurts is one of those players that he'll have a good year and then he'll kind of have a bad year, then he'll have a good year, then he'll have a bad year.
Mm-hmm.
Nick Sirianni is a horrible head coach. The culture there is stable. They finished the regular season horrible and got their ass kicked by Baker.
Okay.
Well, well, you know what? You know what? Another thing is, I've said this many times, and I'll say it again. Some people can be coaches, and some people can be coordinators. You know what? You could be a good head coach if you bring in the right assistants. Okay.
Right. What happened was all his assistants left in the same year, and he had to hire new ones, and he made bad decisions. And then when he realized the one was a bad decision, he got rid of him and promoted Patricia assistant. Because after Patricia started running that defense, they didn't win another game.
That's what's going to be so interesting in Seattle with Mike McDonald as our new head coach. Yeah. I loved what he did with the Ravens D. Can he do it as a head coach?
We're going to find out. We're going to find out.
We're going to find out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The only game they won, the Commanders had Sam Howell kneel on a touchdown going drive where they were in the red zone. They could have won the game on one play, and they took a knee and let the clock run out to make sure they got the second pick overall.
Why is it we bring up Matt Patricia every episode?
Because he deserves it. Oh wow, did I say that too?
Yeah, Patricia's crap. That's why.
I feel like every week we bring him up somehow.
Yeah, because
it's on the Jordan. It's on the bingo card. You have to get the bingo by saying he's done 3 times.
He can't coach. He's not a good defensive coordinator. Bill Belichick was the one doing the defensive coordinator when they were in New England. I don't want to hear nothing about that.
Well, Mike Tomlin does that. Mike Tomlin does that with the Steelers. Terrell Austin stinks. I can't stand him. Jeremy could tell you about Terrell Austin. So I mean, Tomlin runs that defense.
Yeah, that's like the
He
Jets
had
coach. He calls their play too.
He had one great
Salah.
season under Caldwell with that defense that Schwartz built, and they turned it in 3 years from a Lamborghini into a Yugo.
A Yugo.
That's insulting.
Well, Ralph, the thing about this, Ralph, is with Pittsburgh, the reason why you guys, you're making all this case for the defensive coordinator being crap is because you're not used to that. You're used to Dick LeBeau out there.
Absolutely.
Dick LeBeau was the man.
Keith Butler was a Tomlin puppet. Tomlin called the defense. LeBeau, he still had a contract. That's why he had to stay with Mike Tomlin. After his contract was up, Mike Tomlin said, "No, I don't want him here."
If
So,
Terrell,
I'm
gonna address this right now. If Terrell Austin was amazing in Detroit, he wouldn't have went from number 2 in the league in defense to 17th to 27th.
That's a drop and a half.
yeah, that's a good question, Orlando. I like that question there. Where's Jim Caldwell these days? Caldwell almost became our offensive coordinator.
I believe he's either an OC or he's an assistant head coach right now in the UFL.
I thought he was with Cleveland.
Maybe for a minute, but I don't think he is right now. Let me see.
No, he can't get along with what's his name? Stefanski. Stefanski's a jerk.
Who's the I thought Caldwell was the Cleveland defensive coordinator, but maybe I'm wrong.
He's an assistant. He's a senior assistant for the Carolina Panthers. I know he went somewhere in the NFL.
Yeah, he was with Carolina. I don't know if they kept him there, but I know he was with Carolina.
According to his Wikipedia, he's still with the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
They kept him because you know what it is? He lost Sue. Imagine AG without Hut.
He's a senior assistant. That's what he's doing with Carolina.
One guy does not make an entire defense.
Yep.
One guy does not make an entire defense. I'm going to say that right now. One guy does not make an entire defense.
Not 100%, JB.
Unless you're JJ Watt in his prime.
Or Aaron.
Really? We're going there? JJ Watt? Really? Okay.
Will's not on tonight. He had a family function to do. Right now, let's get into it because we've been going for 42 minutes, and I know Ralph has somewhere to be in about 45 minutes. So,
right.
AFC West. What do you say, Megan? Let's start at the bottom. Let's go Denver Broncos. What do you got their win record as possibly being? Is a window of wins, the lowest to the highest?
Lowest to the highest, because we get them in week 1 again in Seattle. Can't wait. Oh, look, I want to be optimistic for them now that they've moved on for Russ, but I don't see any more than 5, maybe 6 wins tops. And I think I'm being optimistic. But I'm interested to see how they do without Russ.
I think it's going to be tremendously better from what I'm understanding.
I'm going to say this, JB, with the caveat that the universe works in mysterious ways.
Mm-hmm.
Could it be possibly any worse than what it was with Russell? Now, God, that is not a hold my beer challenge accepted moment. But I'm really looking forward to seeing them.
You know what?
As we did last year, post-Russ. I've got them at 5 to 6, with room maybe 8, maybe 12.
Let me do this one. I can't defend Sean Payton anymore. I liked him with the Saints and Breeze, but he's making horrible moves since taking over in Denver. He's not the GM.
No.
And he inherited Russell Wilson. Remember?
Yep.
They traded for him because Nathaniel Hackett approached the GM. They tried to get the trade for Aaron Rodgers. The day the deal was supposed to be signed, they declined it. Their knee-jerk reaction was automatically turn to Seattle and trade for Russell Wilson.
And notice how Seattle couldn't get rid of Russell Wilson fast enough. As a 12, I say that. They were like, let's go.
5 picks and 5 players. I'm taking it.
I would take it with both hands and run like hell the other way, as we did.
You're right. You guys went to the playoffs on that trade.
Yep. and we got some of the best picks we have had in decades. So I get, but having said that, I get where our XJ is with Peyton. He did well, but it was a dumpster fire in Denver. What was he supposed to do?
That's fine. But Ralph, what do you got the window of wins there for the Broncos?
Oh, I think they're going to be 8-9 or something like that, or whatever. I don't think they're going to win many games this year. They don't have the talent right now. And if Sean Payton's living in a dream world, I mean, this team is just, he has to build it better, and he has to. His attitude now is just forget it. You know what I mean? And he's got to do something up there. What he did to Russell Wilson was a shame, but I don't see it happen. Mike Westhoff, I know him. I've interviewed him. He's the assistant head coach. He's still in the game. He's 75 years old, but Mike's a good coach. He used to be a special teams coach with the Jets in New Orleans, and then he followed Sean Payton around. So
okay. I know he's saying benching him was the wrong move in that Lions game.
Yeah.
Didn't he give Cam Sutton his only interception of the season?
Yeah. That was, yes.
I mean, when you're talking about a guy that was like the second coming of Eli Apple, looked like he went to Steve Wonder School of Defensive Backs for the blind.
And that insults the vision impaired.
So, Jordan, what do you think?
Well, the Steelers better pray that Cam Sutton don't get a huge suspension, because we actually need him, believe it or not. So,
right. You guys lost some pieces in the offseason. And
yes, we did. Yes, we did.
As a body. But what do you think?
Someone said here, don't sleep on Bo Nix. Well, we'll see what Bo Nix does.
Well, the only thing I will add about that is there's something that I said, and I think he's one of the most pro-ready quarterbacks, because his entire time in college, every year he had a new OC, and every year he improved. It's not like he regressed. It wasn't like Malik Willis that couldn't beat out Bo Nix, and he ran to a small school to get drafted. But so what do you think, Jordan? What is your window of wins for the Broncos?
All right, so here's what I'm going to say. Do you know who the Broncos starting quarterback is right now?
Probably Bo Nix.
No, it's Zach Wilson.
Yeah, they got Zach Wilson from the Jets too, Jeremy. Don't forget about that.
He's their starter right. He's your starter right now if the season started. The Jets are the Broncos are going to be one of the worst teams in the league. I think here's my hot take. Sean Payton won't be the head coach of the Denver Broncos. Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders will be the Denver Broncos next year.
Ooh, whoa. Can we try to step and clip that, please? JB, can we clip?
So, but what has Payton done since Breeze? Well, since Breeze retired, he got busted for Bounty Gate. He got suspended for a year, and then he got fired.
Yes.
That GM, 100%, was just demonstrating that whole roster. Keeping Michael Thomas, a guy that couldn't play 8 games a year or get back to the way he was in his early part of his career once that second contract hit. They should have been cutting bait with him a long time ago.
Well, Dennis Allen was a horrible head coach with the Raiders. And, I don't know why he's still with the Saints. He's not a good head coach. Great defensive coordinator.
He's another one that's all going to be on the hot seat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, B, what's your take? What do you think?
Oh, well, the Broncos are going to take a step back. I just don't see enough of their team being good enough in that division, especially in that division. They were 8-9 last season. I think they're going to probably be a couple games under that this season. I think they're going to finish last too. So that'll be 6-7 wins.
I think if Zach Wilson gets the start, he'll be on a short leash because everybody knows how bad he was in New York. Everybody knows. So if that's the case, you may see Bo Nix sooner than later. And if the reports out of OTAs is right, where he's looked better than Zach Wilson, it may change by the end of preseason.
Oh, yeah. Just because what it is now doesn't mean that's what's going to be at the beginning of the season. Right. I just think if you draft a quarterback at number 1, he needs to start. It's the same thing I'm saying for Minnesota. if you pick JJ McCarthy at number 1, you better start him because I just don't understand why you would pick a quarterback at that height. You know what I'm saying? So
speaking of JJ McCarthy, if there's any Vikings fans out there or Lions fans, did anybody see the video of JJ throwing out the first pitch at yesterday's ball game?
let's not even get into that.
Can we not say we
He
did?
had tons of velocity. He missed the catcher by 10 yards above him, almost went over the screen.
Even that catcher on stilts and 10 foot tall wasn't catching that. I'm just saying.
That's why he's a That's why he's a quarterback and not a pitcher.
Undone. What game were you watching?
Okay, everybody.
Last year.
Okay, everybody. I have to dash out of here. Everybody have a great one. Thank you,
Ralph.
Jeremy.
Right,
thanks, Megan, Zilla, Jordan.
Ralph.
Thank you, everybody. All right, have a great night.
Doing, Ralph. You too, man.
All right, on to the next team, and I think this would be the third place team in that division is probably Oakland. What do you think about it, B? What do you got from Oakland?
Vegas.
I still call them Oakland. That's where they're from.
I'm thinking, hang on, are we talking baseball again with the A's? What are we talking here?
They're going to Vegas too.
Okay, what do you got for their window of wins there, B? What do you think?
I think they're going to stay the same. They haven't figured out what quarterback they're going to have yet. So it's going to go through a whole process of whatever they want to pick here. But the Raiders are going to be the Raiders. I think they're going to finish third as well. They're going to be 8 and 9. I don't think they're going to go higher. I don't think they even have a higher window than 8 games. So I see them staying at 8 and 9 and finishing third.
Jordan?
The Raiders. See, the Raiders, there's a lot I like about their team. Like, obviously, they got some nice offensive weapons. They got Jacoby Myers, Devontae Adams. They got the 2 tight ends, and Mayer they drafted last year. And then they got the guy from Georgia. What's his name? Bowers.
Brock Bowers.
Yeah, so they got some nice weapons besides the quarterback. They don't really have a quarterback. So that's really the only. I'll say the Raiders though are probably around the 7 or 8 win team. I'll say 7 wins. We might get to 8.
Megan?
Yeah, same. 7 to 8 if they're very lucky. Great pieces. Gonna have to wait to see how they gel. Looking forward to seeing Brock Bowers, but yeah, I'm with Jordan. 7 to 8, maybe 9. Maybe 9.
If everything goes right and the sun shines on the dog's ass as usual, I see them with a 6 to 9 win window.
Yep.
They could little as 6 or win up to 9.
I will say this: they got a better quarterback than what they got last year. They do got Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, but they're still going to use the quarterback that they used last year too. They might still use him.
Right.
So.
Right now, both of them look equally bad according to the reports I've seen coming out of the Raiders. So who knows? Maybe they'll grab Ryan Tannehill and save the franchise.
I just don't. I think Minshew They gave Minshew $15 million. I don't think they're going to set him. But
he's been awful. That's all I've heard. He's been awful.
Yeah.
I think they need to get their pieces right before we say anything above 7 to 9. But I do agree with third in the division for sure.
Yep. And now next up, we got I almost said San Diego, the LA Chargers.
No, say San Diego. I actually know who you mean when you say San Diego.
Okay. Well, with the Chargers, Justin Herbert and the Jim Harbaugh-led Chargers. What do you think, Megan? What do you think their win window is?
It's going to be interesting with Harbaugh. The only Harbaugh I like is currently with the Ravens. I don't honestly know. We get them a couple of times this year, and I do not know. I think second in the division for sure, but margin, I got nothing on a margin or like win rate. I am not a fan of the Harbaughs, as I said, but John and Jim, interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing the Chargers. They're kind of like the Rams in our division. They're going to be the unknown, I think. Yeah, I got nothing. I really don't know anything more than that. Sorry, JB.
Jordan?
I feel like I say this every year. The Chargers have the biggest window in the NFL. They could be anywhere from a 5 to 12 win team because their team's like super talented. I mean, they got like some of the best players roster wise from top to bottom in the league. But then it's just like you just never know what you're going to get out of them. I will say they don't. The receiving core kind of scares me a little bit. They don't have anybody really now with not having Mike Williams or Keenan Allen, so they're relying on that rookie McConkey who they drafted out of Georgia. So that will be interesting to see how he does in his
They
first
still
year. And
got
then
Quentin Johnson too.
yeah, but he can't catch the ball. He needs to learn how to catch the damn ball.
Well,
And then
need to catch his mitt.
The guy that concerns me that they got it because right now Cornelius Johnson is listed as wide receiver 5. It's Brendan Rice, and the reason why I like Brendan Rice
I love Brendan. Yeah,
Caleb. And no offense to you, Megan, I'm not knocking him, but when I watched the games, Brendan Rice bailed Caleb out of a lot of bad.
100%. Yeah, 100%. The only thing I don't like about Brendan is his father stole the 80 from Steve Largent, but that's a discussion for another time. But no, I love both of them. But yes, Brendan. Oh, not even that, JB. I agreed. Yeah, 100%.
He's a taller version of his dad, is what he is.
Where I could see,
and I watched his dad play. I saw him live. 100%. Yep, 100%.
where I can see things going south for the Chargers is Herbert's not liking how the offense is ran because Harbaugh's going to want to run the shit out of the ball.
I'm tired of you trashing Jameson Williams. I've already proven to you that for 11 weeks straight, Jameson Williams didn't have a drop.
Who's trashing him?
Is Undone.
That's why we don't pay. I don't pay attention to Undone.
Sorry.
Yeah, I know. Joshua Palmer. Yeah, I do like Joshua Palmer, and he'll be fine. Lad McConkey is a slot receiver by size, 100%. That's where he's going to be. That's where he's going to flourish. The other guy that I like that was taken in the 4th and 5th round, I can't remember exactly which one, Luke McCaffrey, Christian's brother.
I was going to say Christian's brother. Yeah.
Played quarterback, running back, and wide receiver in college. You want to talk about versatility?
Where's he starting though? He can play those positions. Where will they start?
He's going to be a receiver.
Right.
He had his better years at receiver.
Oh, and that's where they need him at too.
Right.
Because they don't have it. They don't really have a proven guy. Their best 2 receivers on paper are McConkey and Quentin Johnson. So.
Yeah. Right. I knew he was Christian's brother. I knew he played the 4, but it's like, where are they putting?
And their most underrated loss was probably Austin Eckler on the Washington.
Oh yeah, that is a big loss. But
that's going to be interesting in Washington with Bobby Wagner, who's in Washington too. So yeah.
So B, what do you got, Matt? Are you kind of like
Jordan? I think that with LA, they got to remember something. They did draft a offensive lineman.
Go Alt.
So
Go Alt.
And he is a good one, and they got a good one already on there, Slater. So, I mean, they got the offensive line where they possibly need it. I think the thing that stymies the Chargers a lot is their injuries. Injuries been really killer over to them over the years. So, as long as they can stay healthy, they're actually – Jordan's right. You don't know what to say about the Chargers. The Chargers have that potential to do what they got to do. But then they get into the area where they get all these injuries, and then they fall apart from that point.
And their coach gets for a million 4th downs.
Yeah. So I mean, well, we don't have that problem anymore. Staley's gone, so I didn't like Staley. I didn't think he was the coach for them in the first place. He's just a defensive coach. Just leave him at that. Don't be a head coach. But Slater and Undone. You get that one. You got right. That's going to be a good, nice duo for their offensive line. And they got J.K. Dobbins, right?
He's a good running back.
As long as he stays healthy, man, they could be a force. As far as where they're going to place in the division, I still don't see them upending the Chiefs. Although those games are going to be a lot closer than you think. I think the Chiefs might even lose one of those games against the Chargers, but because the Harbaugh coaching tree, I know a lot of people don't like the Harbaughs, but they are effective coaches. They are very effective coaches where they play at. Remember, you remember this same coach came in and got San Francisco to the Super Bowl to play against his brother. So I mean,
that was the greatest Super Bowl I'd seen aside from Seattle's win, brother against brother. That was awesome. That was
and I'm just telling you right there that he's no slouch. He got Michigan to a national championship. I don't care what people say about that either, but he took a team there. He took that team, beat Ohio State 3 years in a row. That's hard to do against Ohio State from Michigan. So, and he's had a proven track record with San Francisco. I mean, everywhere he's gone, he's got success. I don't think get in the playoffs. I think they'll get in the playoffs, but I think they're going to lose because that's what Harbaugh's doing at the beginning of their term. They get a good team, they get them set up, and then they lose in the playoffs. But I think about 10 wins, 9 to 10 wins would be sufficient for them. You got to remember they finished at 5-12 last year. They went complete change around what's going on in their roster. So, and you got a coach that knows what he's doing. So we'll give him the benefit of doubt and put him at 9 or 10 wins. Again, I said they'll probably challenge Kansas City for first place, although I think they're going to lose at that. But second place is where I see him at.
Yeah, and I went this order from bottom to top on purpose because that's where everybody's leaning. But at the same time, it depends on which Justin Herbert shows up. Is it going to be the one if they had just tied the game and both teams would have made the playoff versus the Raiders that year? The last year Derek Carr was there. Remember that? All they had to do is take a knee.
Yeah, but that ain't Herbert's fault. That's Brandon Staley's fault.
I understand.
Yeah,
what I'm saying. They only had 8 wins because of that. If they'd have they'd have got into the playoffs. Because they lost, it put Oakland in, and then I think the third team in was the Steelers that year.
Yeah, the Steelers got in,
Yeah,
but LA, with that, I'm not blaming nothing on Justin Herbert on this whole situation because he's basically in a good situation. He can calm down now. The running game is going to be prevalent. It's a hard ball. Running game is prevalent. You got to deal with that. Justin likes to run anyway half the time, so let him roll with that. I think he'll be better this year.
And let's be honest, Brandon Staley was a defensive coach, but that defense was not that good. They got 63 points to the Raiders last year.
No, they did. They did have 8 starters injured in that game.
What, the Raiders?
No, the Chargers.
Yeah, no, I'm saying against the Raiders.
But
you should. You still should. I don't care how bad your defense is personnel wise. You should never give up 63 points in a damn NFL game.
That's like when
the Broncos gave up 70 to the Broncos.
Sorry, hang on, boys. Sorry, Jordan, 63 points in one game. When was that? Sorry, I'm half asleep.
It was last year. They gave up 63 to the Raiders. It was 63 to 20.
Wow.
The Raiders put 63 on the Chargers. Jeez.
Yes.
Okay.
In the division game.
Seattle, so I don't remember that. Sorry. Wow.
Yeah, it was a prime time game, I think.
Still not half as good as the Miami Dolphins going to Denver and putting a 70 burger on them.
Oh, the 70 burger! I watched that. That was
but at least Miami had a good offense, though. Like your division opponent and the Raiders are a shitty offense and still put up 63 on you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 63. Hey, Ken. 63 in a shitty defense. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, JB.
So I've got them. I think they'll be better than last year automatically. So my floor is 6 wins, but my ceiling is 10. My ceiling is 10. And the reason why is everything we said. We have seen the good and the bad out of Herbert. Herbert is a hell of an arm talent, but there's something missing between the ears because he makes some really stupid decisions at times. And hopefully he works that out. But until he does, I'm never going to put them above 10 wins. Never.
Okay, that's fair. I've got him at 60.
That has to do with the decision-making of the quarterback. He's got an elite arm. He can throw it down the field outside the hash marks. He can drop it on in a bucket. The problem is Sometimes he decides to drop it in a bucket of another team's color.
Fair.
Yeah, that's because you
Well,
know coaching is everything. Like I said, if you don't have a complete coaching staff there, it's not going to work out for him. But I think Harbaugh himself is a pretty good quarterbacks coach too.
Right.
He was a quarterback, so
And
he could probably tell him some things.
he gives him
What
the
I
point
think-
of how to read and react is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
What I think nobody's not talking about is the Chiefs losing L'Jarius Sneed. That's a big loss for Kansas City.
It may be, but that's who we're up to. And we're going to start with D, Kansas City. What do you have their window of wins at?
Well, like I said, Kansas City is another one of those teams that they'll come prepared when they need to come prepared. They were 11-6 last year, but guess what? They won the Super Bowl. And why? Because they got hot during the playoffs. That's when you need to get hot. Kansas City is really good for revving it up and turning it up in the playoffs. So you can say that their ceiling can only be anywhere from 10 to 14 wins to me. I don't think they're. I think that Jordan does have a point about the backside of the defense. Needed was an important part of that. I do think that they do have people to step up in there, but then it's a process. The guy that was what's his name, the other corner, he was good last year, but he was a rookie last year too, wasn't he?
McDuffie is that you're talking about?
McDuffie, yeah.
Duffy.
So I mean, he played well. Good system defense that he played in, but I think that he's going to have to take the reins and be the lead corner on that team,
Yeah.
and that's for a second-year player. We'll see how he does. I'm not saying he can't do it, but their defense has always been something that's been, iffy.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's like when they get in the playoffs, they are a totally different team. I mean, they beat Baltimore in Baltimore.
Yes.
Now, how many teams can say that they did that to Baltimore? And they beat them pretty soundly, too.
Yep.
I know.
Yeah.
Because Baltimore was the 1 seed.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
So they were at home, and they went in their house and said,
Mhm.
Yes. It
Slapped
would be
them
gone
to
with
it.
you.
right there. There's
Yep, that's it. And as a Baltimore fan, you want it. As I wanted the Ravens to win, but you took one look at the
I mean,
Chiefs.
You got to think of it like this too. I think the two teams that don't like them the most are Baltimore and Buffalo because they always got to play them and they always lose to them. I think the only kryptonite that Kansas City has is against Cincinnati. Cincinnati seems to match up well for them for some reason. I don't know, but
Josh Allen, after this many years of having that good of a team, he suffers from PMSD. That's Pat Mahomes stress disorder.
which I believe, Jeremy, and I am a psychologist, but rarely diagnose this. It's a chronic and continual disorder, I believe.
And every time he
Every
faces
year,
he
yes.
has the worst performance. Go back and look at the statistics. Every year he faces them, he falls apart.
He does.
Every year.
Yes. Very
And it's
true.
worse
Very
every year.
true. Yeah.
yeah,
I never see. They're not carried by one player though. That's the crazy thing. It's not just Pat Mahomes. It's that
It's
defense.
not.
That defense.
Yeah, that defense won the Super Bowl last year.
100%. That defense.
110%.
11 on turns on a different level.
Well, they were actually, a lot of people don't know, Kansas City was top 5 in a lot of stats last year.
Right.
And that's why they made the playoffs.
Right. They started out slow. It was like the first 6 weeks. That defense was okay. They were leading the division, but it was only like by a game.
Yeah.
After the first 6 weeks were done. And then the defense woke up, just like they do every year. And week 10 on, they were one of the top defenses in the league.
Yeah.
And that's what they do every year.
And you could see that change was like, I don't know if it was just because I was watching, in another division. You could feel it coming, though. You could see it closer they got to the playoffs. It's like they kind of went from here half a step up and then and they kept building to that playoff run and then subsequently the Super Bowl run, I think.
2019, that was the year it was Tampa Bay versus Kansas City, right? That Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, both teams were struggling by October. It was late October.
Yep.
Tampa Bay was like 2-3 or 2-4, and
Tampa
Mahomes
Tampa Bay
only
was Tampa Bay was 5-6 when the playoffs. Well, they were 5-6 and then won like 8 in a row, 9 in a row in the year.
Right, but they had only.
Right.
I'm saying by week 6 they were way down.
Yeah, they were 5-6, like through 12 games or 12 weeks.
No, I'm talking the first 6 weeks is what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, though, Kansas City, regardless of what you think about their defense, the defense sucked last year. They weren't that good. They were 25th against the pass, and they were 14th against the run. They sucked. They did. They sucked. For a team that's a Super Bowl team. The point I'm trying to make, though, is when they get in the playoffs, that team kicks into a whole different level.
Yeah.
They play like a top offense and a top defense. It's amazing how that team is coached like that. They stumble through the season. Everybody will say, they'll say, oh, well, their receivers are dropping passes and Mahomes doesn't look sharp, or the offensive line, Kelsey is going through the thing with Taylor Swift, but they still finished at the top of their division A. B, they still went to the Super Bowl. Why? Because that team knows when to turn on the talent.
That's what I'm. That's
when
exactly
they
what
do
I'm
the
saying.
playoffs. Reed's got them guys going. He's got them going. So
I mean, perfect example. Look who caught the game-winning touchdown.
The guy that's always dropping them.
The guy that wasn't even on their team, McCall Hardman.
Yeah. I mean,
they signed him.
Yeah. But they were making catches in the Super Bowl, though, weren't they?
Yep.
I didn't see about a couple drop passes, and that was good.
Yeah.
When they played the Lions at the beginning of the year, I was ashamed of the Chiefs.
Tony had like Fuller himself.
Yeah, and one of them for a touchdown. So, but you can't ever count the Kansas City Chiefs in the playoffs. If they get in the playoffs, that's when they're dangerous. Regular season, they just kind of skate by and get up there so they can have a position to get in the playoffs. Once they get in the playoffs, you don't want to play them.
Is undone. They were next level in the playoffs. Is what he just read you the statistics. They were one better than us in passing defense, and they were way behind us in run defense for the regular season. They were 14th. We were second or no? We were third because somehow Chicago's defense passed us in run defense.
No, well, Chicago was first. We were second.
I think it was their scoring defense that was real good, though. The red zone and scoring. It was like they gave up a lot of yards, but that's how a lot of good defenses are now. They just bend, don't break.
Yeah, this is true.
Unless it's coached by
because you don't have any more 2000 Ravens defense and 86 Bears defenses and
JB.
Well, because the defenses can't do what they used to be able to do. That's the reason.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. You don't have the defenses like that anymore. So teams are like, hey, we'll let you move between the 20s, and then we'll hold you to field goals or get turnovers.
Yeah, we've seen that a lot with the Detroit defense. So yeah,
I agree. It's going to be somewhere between 10 and 14. They're that kind of a team. They're that well coached. Megan, what do you think? Are you in that same boat?
Yeah, 10 to 12 minimum for me, I think, for the Chiefs. Yeah, as we've all said, they just kick into another gear the closer they get to the playoffs. I keep being told that it's hard to go back-to-back in Super Bowls. I think that's been disproven for me with the Chiefs. Yeah, 10 to 12 minimum for me, I think, is 13, 14 maybe at a stretch. But if they're on a playoff run again, another Super Bowl incoming, perhaps.
Well, they're trying for it. This will be their third one.
That's what I'm saying. But I keep being told, or I keep hearing, perhaps not being told, that no team can go back-to-back in the Super Bowl. Chiefs have. How hard can it be if the Chiefs do? But then you look at all the pieces they've got. You look at Andy, who, I'm sorry, reminds me of Father Christmas. I'm going to say it.
Let's see. Dallas and Pittsburgh both won back-to-back Super Bowls in the 70s. In the 80s, you had San Francisco winning back-to-back Super Bowls. In the 90s, you had Dallas doing it again. So there
Yeah.
has
So what I mean, JB, is
what there haven't been is back-to-back Super Bowl losers since the Bills.
Oh, that might be what I'm mistaking it with. But
what there hasn't been is a team to win 3 in a row.
Yeah, but
Right.
what
That's
I'm
what the
saying
Chiefs are
is,
trying to
I
do.
keep hearing people say you can't go back to back in a Super Bowl, or it's very hard to. Well, the Chiefs have done it, and that's why I'm questioning it, because I keep hearing that. And you list those teams as you did, JB, and it's like, well, it's been done. Why can't it? But
And,
to
The
answer your
Broncos went
question,
back to back.
as far as anybody talking smack in other Lions chat, that's fine. Please do not bring politics into my stuff, because politics are not allowed on my sports show. You want to talk politics? There's a safe space on Twitter you can have fun with.
but to answer your question, JB, 10 to 13, 14 tops for the Chiefs. I think we're all in agreement. If they go to the playoffs, it's over.
And you know what, as undone, you can laugh about Isaiah Buggs being there, but he has something that no Lion has on this roster right now: a Super Bowl ring. Even though he's a POS wearing it.
But anyway, the point about that whole situation too is if Kansas City can get to the season with people on their roster that haven't gone to jail yet, because we still don't know what's going on with my man Rice.
Yep.
You know, he's going to have to be suspended because he's done all kinds of. I don't know what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to just get out the league as fast as he can, or try to find the fastest route to get out. I don't know.
And
But
take
he
as
keeps
much
messing
money
up.
when he much money when he goes.
It's Baltimore. We're talking about AFC West. We did the AFC East. We will do the AFC North when we do the NFC North in 2 weeks.
And Orlando, you best believe the Ravens are a contender, just not in this division.
Right. We're talking divisions now, and now it's on to the NFC.
I didn't do mine yet.
My boys.
What?
I didn't do mine yet.
I thought you did yours because you.
No.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
What do you
I have to. How many games has Taylor Swift won to?
14 of them.
All 18, I'm led to believe in December her schedule clears after her tour. So how?
No, she did an extension of her tour, and the NFL execs, when they did the schedule, looked at her up and scheduled it around her concert schedule so she can be in attendance of a total of 14 games.
I think the Chiefs are. This is another one where I think they're a big win spread. I say 10 to 15 because I think the Chiefs' hardest 2 games this year. I mean, obviously they could have a fluke game and lose to a team that you don't expect, but their hardest 2 games on their schedule might be their first 2 games against Cincinnati and Baltimore.
Right, I get that.
So I'm gonna go 10. I'm gonna go 10 to 15 wins. And here's another thing: to me, their floor is the AFC Championship game. Until they don't go, that has to be their floor. They've been 5 straight years.
Right.
So their floor is the AFC Championship. Obviously, they're still needs to win it all again, but
right.
Let's see. They won one. They lost one. They didn't make it to one, and then they've been in the Super Bowl the last 2 years in a row.
Yeah, they've been the 5 straight AFC Championships.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. That's their floor.
The Joe Burrow is easy to root for. He's easier to root for if he's healthy, which is something we've rarely seen. He wasn't healthy his rookie year. The next year he was healthy.
They went to the Super Bowl.
The next year he missed the first 5 games of the season. They went to the playoffs and lost. The next year he played 2 games and was out the rest of the season. And that team still won 10 games.
Well,
yeah,
actually,
9. Yeah,
actually, Orlando, Kansas City in the playoffs is automatic. Just because
I was
Jordan
going to
just
say,
told you, they've been in there the last 5 years.
They've been at the AFC
Orlando. If Taylor is cheer girl, you best believe. Listen, from game 1, they're there. They don't have to play any other games this season. If Taylor's in the stands, they're there. Let's call it as it is, JB.
they've been in the AFC Championship every year. Pat Mahomes has been their quarterback. Let's just say that.
He actually, the reason why he never got to start in Ohio State was the first scrimmage game that they did, the spring game. He broke his
hand. Yeah.
tell you, broke his ribs year 1, broke his hand year 2, then transferred to LSU, re-injured his ribs, didn't get to start that first year, and his senior year was his only healthy season. So yes, he has an injury history.
Who's that, Joe Burrow?
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Wow, I knew he'd had a couple of injuries, but wow, that's more than my injury.
You know, it's actually crazy. He's actually missed more games since college than Tua has.
No way.
Yeah. He's missed more games since college than Tua has.
Wow. Wow.
I want to say it the way I want to read it because I've heard that TikTok video sometimes. He needs milk.
He's not dairy free like I am, Orlando. Asking for a friend.
I'm just saying, Joe Burrow has had a bigger injury history than everybody realizes because Tua broke both hips in college. Yes, and he still missed less games than Joe Burrow.
That's insane because I know Tua has had his share of injuries, but Joe's had.
But Joe Burrow missed a whole season of football.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Burrow basically missed 10 games this year, and then his rookie year he missed 9 games, so that's 19 right there. And then he's missed time in between. Tua's never missed the whole season at all in his whole time. He's only missed like 6 games. I think it's the most he's ever missed at once.
Oh wow! Yeah, no, I knew Tua had the injuries, but
because when he got hurt at Alabama his last year, it was like the third to last game of the season. So
no. But what I'm saying is, if you said to me before you told me that information, who's had the more injuries, Joe or Tua, I would have gone Tua every day of the week. But it's blowing my mind.
If you go back to high school, Tua's had more since his high school career through his pro career.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think Burrow got injured in high school, but.
Right.
College and pro, he's been injured. He's missed more games than Tua.
That's mind blowing.
Yeah, but Tua's is mostly like smaller injuries, like little hamstring or like a concussion. Burrow's have been like ACLs, wrist injuries where you have to get surgery.
Yep.
And those are the ones that suck.
And Burrow, I mean, you could say the horrible offensive line too, but the year they went to the Super Bowl, their line was just as bad, and they still went to the Super Bowl.
And he stayed healthy all year.
Yeah.
Imagine Burrow behind this O-line, but at the same time, when we played against the second game versus the Pack and the first 2 games versus Chicago, guess what? Burrow would have been injured, and we wouldn't even have made it to the NFC Championship game because those games alone. That was 13 sacks combined.
Fair point.
So if you expect him to stay healthy, that'd be great. But guess what? I don't trust Joe Burrow to stay healthy. I don't think he can walk and chew bubble gum without getting a busted ankle.
The
money they overpaid him.
Yeah, they're gonna have to give him bumper up.
And pat his head, JB. He's got to do all 3 things before he's off injury waivers, isn't it? Chew gum, walk in a straight line, and pat his head.
Yep, and rub his belly before.
Rub his belly. That was the other thing I was just about to say too. Yes.
Why doesn't Goff ever get hurt? Is he good at falling or just luck? Believe it or not, Goff actually is a yellow belt, and when you take judo, you learn how to fall.
You learn to fall.
Go with it. So it doesn't put your body. And Tom Brady has talked about this. And he said that every player in the NFL should take judo to learn how to fall so they can roll out of stuff without getting hurt.
To do that,
it helped Tua. Tua didn't get hurt and did it.
I dual lightsabers, Star Wars lightsabers, and it's a form of martial arts. And first thing we're taught is if you fall safely and roll. Just don't hit the ground. You roll as well. So we learned that at lightsaber training. So
Do we got the NFC West to still do it or no?
Yeah. That's what you're getting ready to do.
Okay.
So at the bottom we got the Arizona Cardinals. B, what do you think?
They're gonna still be bottom.
I kind of figured. That's why I started.
I'm thinking yes.
I mean, I think they might get a couple extra wins. They were 4-13 last year. I think they might get a couple extra wins, but they're going to be at the bottom. I just don't see them. I don't see them doing anything next year. This year coming up. So
RXA, I read it, and I know he got seven times. The Cardinals are basically year 2 and under Campbell. No, that roster's nowhere near as good as what we were year 2. But anyways, so what did you say
for
for
the
your
coaching staff,
window of wins?
4 to 6.
4 to 6. Jordan?
This is a tough one because I think they're going to have a decent offense. I think this offense might fit Kyler Murray a little better, going under center and stuff. So, and they got Marvin Harrison Jr. So I think they're going to put up some points on offense a little bit. I will say the Cardinals can get 7 wins. NFC being a little weaker too, I think the Cardinals can get themselves 7 wins.
Mm-hmm. All right, Megan.
Now I'm going to say that my brother is a Cardinals fan, and the only 2 games in our schedule that I feel confident of saying will be wins are the Cardinals games. I've got them at 5, maybe 6, pushing 7, but 5 to 6. If nothing more, to hear my nephew yell at my brother, "Go Seahawks" instead of "Go Cards."
Is undone. I want to ask you a question. Did Kyler Murray grow 6 inches this offseason?
Good question. I'll be back in a minute, JB. I'll be right back.
If not, I don't see them winning more than 6 or 7 games.
He might have grew 6 inches.
Where?
If he got platform shoes on.
What did he just start doing? Taking Blue Chew, and he's trying to get into porn? Oh, wait. Yeah, he might be. I heard that last year when he was wearing that crop top that was tied in the front and the little bandana over his head, he was auditioning to be a cheerleader in the longest yard, too.
Yeah.
Him and the Ewok.
Wasn't Murray in the MVP conversation at one point before he got hurt? He got hurt before he even walked on the field. He was hurt in game 1. So no,
a couple of years ago, I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, that's when the Rams won the Super Bowl.
They had
what's
won
their first so many games, and then they fell off.
The sad part is the sad part is he looks much bigger than Bryce Young.
Yes, you're right, James Burgess. But Kyler grew 7 inches when he saw the new COD come out.
But at least Kyler has some muscle to him. Bryce Young's pretty thin.
I hope since he keeps him on his feet, he's fun to watch. Dude has moxie when he's not riding the bike. I understand it. But you know what? He has moxie when he's on the field. He's been to the Super Bowl. That's what they paid him for.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow is the first quarterback to get the Cincinnati Bengals into the Super Bowl since Ickey Woods was running for him.
Boomer Esiason.
Yeah.
JB, can I just add to RXJ's thing about Kyler and COD, the new Call of Duty? I am a Call of Duty fan of many years, and it doesn't come out till October. So I hope Kyler.
No. He's saying that's the only time Kyler grows.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say I'm counting down the days for new Call of Duty, and that's not out till the end of October.
Right.
So I
it's
hope,
like October
I hope Kyler.
And that's when Kyler will quit playing.
I was going to say that's when I hope Kyler eats his Wheaties and drinks his Kool-Aid and grows 10 feet, because we play them and I really want to smash him at home. Excuse me.
And,
sorry.
I'm not calling anybody not a blue chip player on that team other than Kyler Murray, because Mighty Mouse, when he got paid, he was able to ride to the bank in a remote control car.
He dropped his money at the bank with a drone, didn't he? Or am I thinking of something?
You didn't see the video that they did? They actually had one of those racing remote control cars.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Sorry, JB. I know what you're referring to. Yes, I did
Murray
see
on the way to the bank to cash his bonus check.
Sorry, I did see that. Yes, sorry. Yeah. It's the only time you'll ever see Kyler Murray move that quick. Oh, did I say that way too loud? Sorry, JB.
Actually, he is more athletic than people give him credit for.
That's true. Yeah,
he's that Italian race car that Lightning McQueen raced in cars. He's fragile.
That's a great analogy. You know, I'm never going to watch Cars the same way. Thanks, JB, for ruining that. No, I'm kidding.
That offense has the ability to be the lead when they have a different quarterback, is what I'm telling you. And that coach is not good. We watched it. We've watched him talk. He said stupid shit.
I've watched the Cardinals. Isn't done. I've watched the Cardinals for 10 years because my brother is a fan, not just because it's a 2-win on our slate for the Seahawks.
No,
I don't feel different. I haven't seen any reason to feel different. Now, I can stand corrected if something phenomenal happens for the Cards, but it isn't going to happen this year. Sorry.
I think the Cards are going to beat some teams that you guys don't think they're going to beat. They did it last year. They beat you guys. Know they beat the You guys know. I know there was when the Eagles were struggling, but they did beat the Eagles last year and they beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, but is that normal though for them? That's my point, Jordan. Yeah,
but
can.
Dallas.
They're a better team this year.
Because Dallas happens all the time, where they lose to a team they never should.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody has that.
I'm sorry, I don't agree. I mean, yes, any team can be.
7? And was Kyler Murray the quarterback when they beat the Dallas Cowboys? No, it was Josh Dobbs.
And here's where I'll defend Kyler a little bit. He's never really had a number one receiver. He has Marvin Harrison Jr. now. Let's see what he can do with it.
Do you expect?
I still don't have a good offensive line. I continue to tell people, you have a good offensive line. Your offense is elite. You can do anything you want. Your offensive line is garbage. This is this thing that Caleb's going to have to go through with Chicago. He's got three great receivers and a couple of good tight ends, but his offensive line is still garbage. If he's got to be running for his life like they were with Fields, then you're not going to have a good team. That's all there is to it. If you can't find your weapons if you're on a run, then there's no point in having weapons. You know what I'm saying? You got to have offensive line.
RXJ James Conner is the running back. Now on to the next 3, and I'm going to go in any order now because the only reason why I went Cards first is because I know that we were, for some reason, we were all going to pick them to be last in the division because they're not ready yet. They're not.
No, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They are missing more than 2 pieces on that defense and offense.
Mm-hmm.
At least. I could think of 4 they're missing at least, but won't go.
And have Evan Brown now to play center, who got injured again. He was injured for Seattle last year.
I think did he play?
James Conner is still the only thing James Conner is great for is fantasy football. He is running back.
Ask me how I know. Ask me how I know because I had him in fantasy.
But he's running back 10 every year in fantasy football points.
Oh, yeah.
No matter where you draft him, and especially if you see him in the 3rd or 4th round and somebody hasn't grabbed him, you snag him.
I did in the 5th, I think it was in one of mine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jay. Now who's next in the block?
Let's do the Rams. We're going to start with you, Megan.
I like the Rams because I love Puka Nacua. I've got them behind Seattle and above the Cards, although that can flim and flam. I have them if Puka is okay, which I hope he will be because guess who wants him in fantasy again? Probably 8 to 9, maybe. I do expect because I heard Sean McVay was wanting to quit and he lost the motivation. So I think it's going to be interesting to see if he's got that back. I think he does. I got 7 to 9 for the Rams, maybe a first week into the playoffs, maybe second. So 8 to 9 for the Rams.
10 or 11 last year?
10.
That's right.
Was it 10?
Yeah, they won.
They won 10, I think.
No, they won 10. I'm looking right at this guy there.
Oh, you're looking. I don't know that they will do any more than 10. I could see 11, possibly 12, but I've got them depending on their fitness. 9 to 10, 11 maybe. So
9 to 11. 9 to 11.
9 to 11.
Okay, Jordan.
All right, I'm going to be indifferent on this one. The Rams are going to win the NFC West this year. 11-6.
Clip it, mark it, and clip it. Okay.
11-6. I think the 49ers are going to take a little bit of a step back. Brock Purdy is going to get figured out a little bit. And I think the 49ers will make the playoffs, but I think they'll be a game back. I think the 49ers are going to go 10-7.
I like that.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of people, of course, a lot of analysts are picking the Rams to actually win the division as well. And then San Francisco is still San Francisco. I just think that San Francisco got exposed quite a few times during the playoffs. They won their games, but they got exposed quite a few times in the playoffs. And I just don't think that – I think to Jordan's point, I think they will step back a bit. They got another defensive coordinator, so they got to learn that first.
True.
They might get better near the end of the season. But with the Rams, I mean, the only thing I question about the Rams, I hope their defense plays better than they had. They really don't have a great defense. Aaron Donald's gone.
Yeah,
they were young.
Oh.
The Rams' problem is they're young. They're young on that side of the ball.
And that's the thing that concerns me because the offense don't concern me. Their offensive line got a tad bit better. You got Stafford back there. You got the running game back there. You got to remember they signed Blake Corum too, which I don't understand why they did, but they did. He's kind of the guy that runs through people. He's like the thunder and lightning that we got. So you look at that, and then they got great receivers. You know, Puka Nacua.
Cooper
they
Kupp.
got Cooper Kupp still. Yeah. So they got people that are good. That's gonna move the ball up and down the field.
Yeah. Can I just
defenses?
Sorry,
Go ahead.
B. RX, thank you for saying you've got Seattle second in the division behind the Rams. I've got them behind the 49ers, but thank you for the kind thought with the Rams possibly not winning the division. But thank you for that, RX. You're very kind. Sorry, B, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to see that before it dropped.
One thing about the 49ers that you can say, and this is a fact, if you look at how they play outside the division, they actually play outside the division better than every other team in the division plays outside the division. They win that division because they have the better record overall 9 times out of 10. It's not they split in that division. For some reason, they'll lose a game to the Cards, they'll lose a game to the Rams, and they'll lose a game to the Seahawks. Every year. They go 3-3, but they win
like
so
Baltimore.
much outside the division that they win more than everybody else. That's what happens with San Francisco. That's what everybody's forgetting about. That division beats up on itself like our division does.
Yeah. I just think that I'm gonna go. You know what? I'm gonna go with Jordan on this one. I think the Rams win the division. I think they're gonna be 12-5. I think the 49ers are going to be 11-6. I'm just going to go with it at that. I think the Rams will win the division. They'll be about 12-5. To win a division, they need to be 12-5. That's how I got it.
At least.
Yeah, I think I got the window of win because overall the team, I see it's a little better. But at the same time, I see the defense regressing a bit. New defensive coordinator, the loss of Aaron Donald, a bunch of young guys in there. I could see them winning as little as 9 games because the defense start out slow. But at the same time, I think their ceiling is 12.
Yeah, I think the ceiling. Yeah, I'd agree with that, JB. I can't see them going higher than 12. With the loss of Donald, I don't see. Well, okay. 49ers regress, but 49ers still take the division for me. With the loss of Donald and the defense, I'm not saying the Rams can't do it.
Right.
I find it hard to believe they will without Donald. clip it. I'll stand corrected if I'm wrong, but I still think 49ers take the division.
And speaking of which, I'm going to put your team last so we can start with you next round. But right now, we're going to talk about the 49ers. What do you have their window of wins at, B?
Like I said, I got them at 11-6, no worse than 10. Like we have already established, they're like the Baltimore of the NFC. They win a lot of games out of division, and I mean they stump teams out of division. When it comes to playing in division teams, though, it's like Baltimore. They can't figure out a way to beat the Steelers. I don't understand that whole situation, but they can't beat the Steelers. And sometimes they have a hard time with Cleveland. Cincinnati, they don't seem to have too much of a problem with Baltimore-wise. But San Francisco is in that same category. They'll lose games that they should win, like Arizona. They'll lose an Arizona game. Like, at home. They'll be like, dude, you're at home. You lost to Arizona. What the hell? But then
go on the road and dog walk them.
Yeah, they'll dog somebody. Yeah.
You want to know a fact? Sean McVay, and since Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan have been coaching, neither one have swept each other.
Right.
There you go.
They always split.
Yeah, there you go.
Every year.
So that's what I got for San Fran. No lower than 10 and no higher than 11. I got them between 10 and 11.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Patriots, where do you got them at?
So they're another one that has like a really high ceiling, obviously, because like they have the highest ceiling in this division. I put them at like 13 wins for their ceiling, but I also could see teams figuring out Brock Purdy in the offense a little bit. Brandon Ayuk wants a new contract. Never know what happens there. Debo's declining a little bit. I mean, if defenses start catching on Brock Purdy, I think they could win like as low. I mean, their roster's too talented for them to not win 9 games. So I'm going to say 9-13. But I think 10 or 11 is what they will win.
I've got, as I said, the 49ers winning the division. Sorry, Rams. I think it'll be between the Rams and 49ers, though. I'm with Jordan. I've got them minimum 11-13, maybe 14. I think, Ayuk saying in the press, they don't want me anymore. Brock Purdy is the question. I think if teams figure him out, they might drop below 10, although I don't see it. 10-13, and I hate the 49ers with a passion because I'm a 12, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I don't see them going below 10.
They're 9-13. That's where it's at. If they fall off and people figure it out,
that's where I have a 9-13.
Yeah, that's why I've got them 10-13. Yep.
If other teams figure out Purdy, they'll win 9 games. If they don't, and Ayuk says, "Hey, I better play because I'm playing for my next contract," because that's the mentality that everybody in the contract year has to think. You can't think, okay, they don't want me here. You have to think, hey, I want to play somewhere else, and I want to get that big money. I want to get that $25 to $35 million. So I better bust my butt like he has been doing.
Well, that's another thing I was kind of considering, too. Because the 49ers start out like mid-season kind of slow, and they're like, 5-4, 6-4. Do they just trade Brandon Ayuk at the trade deadline?
And who say he's going to be there at the beginning of the season? That's the other thing.
That too.
Would they trade him, though? Like, who else is going to want Ayuk? I'm not saying there's no one.
There's plenty of teams that would take Brandon Ayuk. He's the number one receiver on that team.
Seattle were one of them, but it's
and
never
he's young.
Well, he's not. Actually, to tell you the truth, that's not true. Brandon Ayuk is like the third best offensive weapon on that team, tied really with third. If you got Kittle, you got Debo, and you got McCaffrey. There's no way he's above all of them. And that's the problem with him and his wanting his money. You want to be paid like a number one, but you're actually no better than number 3 as an offensive weapon on that team. So if he took him off that team, they still would win games. That's the point. Yeah. If they took Debo off that team, they might not win as many games. You took McCaffrey off the team, they definitely wouldn't have won that. They wouldn't win any games.
I think Ayuk's a better receiver right now than Debo. I think Debo's a better playmaker with the ball in his hand. Like, that's where Debo's great. But as far as like route running and all that, Brandon Ayuk's better than Debo Samuel, that kind of stuff.
Well,
if you actually look,
as far as weapons are concerned on that team, he's like a number 3. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I would take Ayuk right now over Debo. Debo's like 30.
And, you know, he signed that deal, and then the Debo, when he signed his second contract and got that big money from San Francisco for it, he immediately came out a week later. He goes, yeah, but I don't want to be used as a running back anymore, which is why that year they traded for Christian McCaffrey, because they said, fine, you don't want a gadget guy that does all those plays? We'll get the guy who can do it, and then don't worry about it.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's where Debo's great. It's with the ball in his hands.
Shit I've ever
read. But Debo's hang on, Debo's got to get the ball in his hand.
Because nobody like Debo Samuel is not known as like this technique route runner, like deep threat receiver. He's good with the ball in his hand.
Yeah, but again, they have to throw it to him to get it into his hand. That's where I have
actually did a 60-40 split with CMC last year, except in the playoffs. If you look at it throughout the season, that's why he was able to go as long as and as deep as he was in the playoffs. Is because they didn't use him as much in the season. He still got his. He still did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah.
You know, you can say Kittle's washed, but he had better numbers throughout the regular season.
Kittle's still good.
He pancaked the hell out of Hutchinson.
Yeah, he did twice.
I ain't gonna never forget about that play. He pancaked Hutchinson. You don't pancake a defensive end. If I was Hutchinson, I would have been pissed about that. I would be mad as hell.
You can't pancake a defensive end,
not a tight end.
Smashed him.
Pancake put him on his ass.
If the Madden curse doesn't work, because remember, there's been 8 players that wasn't hit by the Madden curse since the whole rumor of the Madden curse started, and it does skip the year.
Calvin Johnson was one of them. People forget about Calvin Johnson. He had his best career year when he was on a Madden cover. That stuff don't make any sense anyway. That's BS.
The one that hit worse was Peyton Hillis.
Well, Peyton Hillis, he should have never been on a fucking. He should have never been on a cover of a Madden.
He had that one year with Cleveland.
1 year, and you're going to put him on whatever, man.
Let's not. Can we not? All right, Jay.
Next is the Seahawks.
Next is the Seahawks. Megan, go ahead. Tell everybody what you think.
I have asked. I can tell. No, hang on, JB. You mean the polite thing of what I'm thinking and tell you how I feel. Because if I really tell you how I feel about the Lions, you are kicked off YouTube for eternity.
No, how do you feel about your team is what I'm talking about.
To quote Pete Carroll, whom I adore, I am so freaking jacked for this season. The only time I've been this excited is in the lead up to our Super Bowl run. I'm not. I have fairly low expectations because of everything that's changed. I'm looking forward to Sam Howell. I'm looking forward to Mike Mack, who reminds me of my dorky brother. I'm looking forward to Baby Ravens D. I am just looking forward to Byron Murphy, Charles Cross, Zach Charbonnet, JSN, and so on. I've got us realistically at 7 to maybe 10. People, the 12s are talking about playoffs and Super Bowl runs. No, give us 2 to 3 years and come back and talk to me about it. I am hoping Sam Howell gets a decent run this year. I've loved Sam for many years. Think he was absolutely wasted in Washington, although that's not entirely his fault, I will say. But very excited. If we get half the D that the baby Mac D from the Ravens in Seattle this year, I am stoked. 7 to 10 optimistically, and anything else being a bonus. Second in the division. Thank you, behind the 49ers. I said it. So,
Boy,
yeah, very excited.
I am so sick of people saying that people after 1 or 2 years are busts.
Oh. Sorry, I just rolled my eyes at the back of my skull, JB. Yeah.
Have they never heard of Geno Smith?
Yeah. I mean,
JSN sucks. Hang on.
and,
JSN sucks.
and he's a bust. He had 63.
And but JB, he sucks.
That's
And he's a bust. Wow. I like to have a little more faith in my team is undone. And admittedly, JSN.
First of all, that is a dumb comment to make, really, because JSN only played 1 year.
And
thank you, B. You just literally read my mind. Sorry,
and
JB.
he was drafted to be a slot receiver for the most part that can play outside. You know what he is? He's a young Amon-Ra. He has almost the exact same stats. 63 catches, 630 yards, 10 per catch, and 4
his first year, yep.
And I think the thing with the rookies that I certainly forget about is we hear how they come out of the draft. We see where we pick them, Zach Charbonnet being an example of this. And when they don't perform or they get injured or, something unforeseen happens, we're like, oh, what a waste of a pick. Charles Cross at 9 2 years ago, I was screaming for 3 months that we had to take him. And we did. Praise the Lord. You could have heard me screaming from Seattle. I was so excited. Now, he's been injured. He has had the worst case of turf toe I think I've ever seen. And people are calling him a bust.
Well,
do we not give players a chance?
Who's the best rated center left off of last year that has an inoperable turf toe condition? Frank Ragnow of Detroit.
Right. So what I'm saying is,
he plays with that.
You're going to write these. Sorry, JB, go. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm just saying. He plays through that pain every day. He missed 6 games last year, and you want to know what the difference is? We lost 5 of them.
Mm-hmm. The thing that frustrates me, like you saying, a player, has a bad game and he's a bust, is. Yeah, exactly. I've not done turf toe, but I've seen enough of it in other sports to know that you do even a slight turf toe, it is a bad injury, and everyone's calling for Cross to be cut. Hell no on that. But it's not an easy injury to come over, but apparently he's a bust because he hasn't played, but he can't play because of the turf toe.
I know. I get that. It's no different.
And he just and JB just put out the stats for RSN. Yeah, I mean, if you see those stats, it's like you said, it was the same, almost the same as Ahmad started off with. So no, that's what he showed us. I like him. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I think he's gonna be a better receiver than Metcalf. And the only reason why I say that.
Wow.
Because Metcalf takes plays off all the time. Metcalf is a lazy bastard. If he didn't be so lazy, I would like him more. But Nick Jingba is not going to be that guy. He's going to be the guy that steps out. So I like him.
Yeah. No, Charles Cross, as I said, I have an autographed painting of him on my wall in the living room. They haven't had a chance. And Pete Carroll, as I said, I love him, but he wasn't doing any favors for them either. So I'm very excited to see what can come of these rookies coming through, but also our new rookies, Byron Murphy and Christian Haynes. Let's go, boys. Sorry, I've taken up too much time ranting. Sorry, okay. JB.
You're okay. What do you think, Patriots media? Come on, Jordan Edelman.
6 of the 9 wins, hopefully for 6, so they can trade us DK Metcalf at the trade deadline.
I have 2 words to.
Hey, DK, keep me lazy so you get traded.
RX, I do believe, to answer your question, he did need to go to the bathroom, but I think there was also a slight calf strain that exacerbated the need for him to go off to go to the bathroom, or a calf injury, maybe.
Right.
Maybe.
Yeah, he had.
But I do like, I do like, I do like Seattle's offense, but their defense I don't trust. It's the defense for me that I don't trust. The offense I think will do pretty good because they got some weapons. Obviously, Metcalf, Jackson Smith, Najigba, got Tyler Lockett still hanging around. He somehow every year gets 1,000 yards. And then they still got Noah Fant.
Yep, still got Noah Fant.
Noah Fant, and then hopefully Kenneth Walker can stay healthy.
Is undone. I absolutely love Geno Smith, but I want Sam Howell to play some games for us as well. So sorry, Jason, I'm getting all these questions. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
I think Geno's going to be on the short leash.
I think
other than maybe Russell Wilson, he might have the shortest leash in the NFL.
Yeah. Sorry, I keep reading questions, JB. I'll shut up.
I would get to them, but I'm trying to get through the takes, and then I go to the chat. Okay, B, what do you got?
You got it.
So last year, the Seahawks finished 9-8. That's with Geno Smith. I do think that they'll be either just as good. Now, this depends who starts a quarterback. If it's Sam Howell, I'll put a 2-win cushion, a 2-win addition onto that. That would be 11 wins. If they start with Geno, 9-10. I think Howell is a better quarterback. I'm sorry. Geno is okay, but he's a backup playing a starter role. He's a decent starter, but at the same time, he's not. Sam Howell, people don't realize last year he was leading the league in passing at one point, and he was getting sacked like a mother. And
he got sacked 85 times. Yeah. He got sacked 85 times.
And this Seattle offensive line is a lot better than that Washington offensive line. And if he has some time back there, he will pick people apart. Sam Howell was one of my guys last year that I said he'll be a good quarterback. He's going to be a good quarterback because he can chuck that ball. But the offensive line didn't give him enough time to do anything. He was running for his life half the time.
Here's another thing, too. Seattle got some better weapons than freaking.
This is true as well.
Because all Washington has was scary. That's about all they have.
Mm-hmm.
So, is undone. If you want a body like DK, you need to take his regimen. He lifts weights 3 hours a day.
Minimum, I've heard.
And he has 4 carb days a week to replace all the carbohydrates he loses working out like that. He has 4 days of weights, 3 days of cardio. That's what he does.
Yep, he is a beast. I've heard coaches talk of him in the locker room. In the weights room, and he's not lifting small weights. He is lifting like huge amounts that make me cringe. But don't forget also, JB, he does have the occasional bowl of Fruit Loops on the side of the sideline, or actually puts his hand in the box and tips the box up and drinks them. But yeah.
And you're absolutely right, RXJ. He is at 1% body fat. They made a big deal about that at the combine when they showed him in that picture next to
he's a specimen.
Who was it he was next to that worked out with them from the LSU squad that year? That was being drafted. It was another receiver.
Oh,
LSU?
Yeah.
I know who you
think. That was in 2019. I don't know who was on LSU in 2019.
No, I know the name. I can't think of it.
Wasn't it Brown?
Could have been Chase.
Was it Brown?
No, because Chase was 2021.
Yeah.
2022, actually. 2022, and Jefferson was 21. I don't know who it was. And Odell's been in the league before that. Jarvis Landry's been on.
It wasn't Treadwell. Treadwell was way before.
I don't know. The only LSU guys I know was.
I know the name, but it's just not coming.
Yeah, but he was 21 or 20. He wasn't 19. But he was on the championship team when Burrow and them won it, and that was 2020.
Brown, wasn't
it?
Who? It was one of the Browns. One of the Browns.
No, Marquise Brown played for Oklahoma. So.
There was a Brown that played
On
there.
2019, but in 2019, the roster had both Chase and Justin Jefferson as wide receivers.
Yeah, but he said at the combine, so they would have been drafted. They weren't drafted then. Because Chase didn't come out until 2022, and Jefferson didn't come out until 21. So I don't know. Or 21 and 20.
I will kick myself when I read the name.
And Metcalf was 19.
Well, the only other receivers I could Terrence Marshall Jr., Devonta Lee.
Yeah, and there was nobody at LSU. I don't think that was drafted there.
I can't recall it, but I'll kick myself when I get off and read it.
Not LSU. There might have because the receivers in that draft were like AJ Brown, Debo, Terry McLaurin.
AJ Brown.
It was AJ. I thought, yeah, okay. I thought it was, yeah.
He played at Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Him and DK played together at Ole Miss.
That's right. They did too.
And it's in the first picture where they showed the bodybuilder body is what I was getting at. I thought it was LSU for some reason.
Yeah, they both played at Ole Miss together.
I thought it was Ole Miss. Yeah.
Yeah, they both played at Ole Miss.
And fun fact, gentlemen, DK was the first of 22 Hawks jerseys I ever bought. There's 14. There you go.
Can't blame you.
Like I said, DK. I liked DK when he first came out. He had a potential to be Calvin Johnson, basically, and better because he was more powerful. Yeah. He was just as tall, and he could run the ball well. Obviously, we can see how fast he is because he chased down my man in that Arizona game when he got that pick. Was that Peter? Who was that picked the ball? Was it Peterson?
Bubba Baker.
No, was it?
Baker.
Yeah, Bubba Baker. Yeah, he chased down Bubba Baker.
Well, you're also 6'4". You're also like 6'4", 6'5", and they tell you to run in the Olympics. You know you're fast.
Yeah. So I mean, but the problem I have with him is his game day thing. He just he plays when he wants to play, and he doesn't play when he. I don't like that in a receiver. The receiver should be going full speed all the time.
He has a George Pickens in him.
Yeah.
How did he fall to the third round or second round? Because the Lions were too stupid and took Jelani Tabai instead of DK Metcalf that year.
Yeah.
Wow, the Lions were in line. God bless. I take back every nasty thing I've ever said about the Lions for the next 2 seconds because you gave us DK. God bless you all.
I will say this, to be fair, that was probably one of the best receiver drafts, and none of those receivers went in the first round. DK Metcalf didn't go in the first round. Debo, Terry McLaurin, AJ Brown, none of those guys went in the first round.
Yep. That's an underestimated wide receiver draft.
The only two that went in the first round were N'Keal Harry, who was a bust, and Marquise Brown.
Remember, Seahawks had a little better record than us. I think we went, what was that? The 2019 draft. Where did we pick? 6th overall, right? Isn't that right? Something like that? No,
2019?
Yeah, something like that.
Who did you guys take?
That the year?
Who?
We took the
Tabai in the second round.
Tabai in the second round.
Yeah, but who did you take at? You said you had a 6th pick. Who did you take at 6? I'm trying.
Is that
because 2020 you took Penny Sewell, right?
Yep, we took Hawk.
Yeah,
Hawkinson. Oh, Hawkinson. Yeah, EJ Hawkinson. Or like JT or Jeremy likes to say, TJ Dropinson.
Yeah, we had the 8th pick in that draft.
I like TJ as much as I like Kirk Cousins.
That extra second round pick to be in front of Seattle, wasn't it?
Yes.
Seattle was way down there.
Yeah, we were right down. Yeah.
I thought they got DK late the mid.
Seattle was 29th. They had a 29th pick, and they took LJ Collier.
Oh, yeah. Can you not say the name of Satan to me, please, being LJ Collier? Please.
I missed Hawkinson too, but you know what? I realized that my sight was out of alignment, and I had it fixed at the gun.
Yeah, you made another you didn't. And JB, you forgot to account for the wind when you took the shot.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
What's with the Lions drafting tight ends in the top 10?
You're idiots.
What do you mean? Sam Laporta we didn't take in the top 10.
I'm not saying him. I'm talking about Eric Ebron and Hawkinson.
Previous regimes, different mentality.
I think Pettigrew was Pettigrew was also picked in the top 10 too.
Pettigrew was 20 because we took Matthew Stafford first.
That's crazy.
We had 2 picks in the top.
That's right.
We had 2 picks in the first round that year.
Yeah, because that was the year we got the haul from Dallas for Roy Williams, the wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
So
Roy
the 20th
was a
pick
bust.
overall.
That was a thievery. We got Stafford. Yeah, we got Pettigrew, but Stafford turned out to be a good thing for us. So we got the haul. I think we got the better end of that deal.
Pettigrew just set the record for receptions and yards by a tight end for Detroit Lions the year before we took Ebron. It made no sense to take Ebron at 10 with Aaron Donald sitting there.
Donald right there. Yep.
Yeah.
That was the dumbest thing. Well, we had bad management. That's what happens when you have bad management.
Well, then you guys would have had probably. I'm about to say, then you guys would have had Aaron Donald and Dominic Sue.
I swore Ebron was taking.
So imagine that D-line. Dominic Sue and Aaron Donald.
I think Ebron was 5th, wasn't he?
No, I think we took him at 10.
No, I think it was.
I thought it was earlier than that, too. I thought it was like 8th or 7th.
Yeah, I thought it was.
First round pick 10.
Wow.
Okay.
But still, top 10, that's high for a tight end.
It is.
Because how many tight ends have won the top 10 ever? Maybe 10? And the Lions have drafted 2 of them?
Didn't what's his name, Winslow, go in the first round pretty early too for Cleveland?
Yeah, I think he went 4th or 5th.
Kellen Winslow Jr.
Yeah,
I think he went 6th because I think the highest was Kyle Pitts a couple years ago.
Yeah,
and he went 4th.
He was 4th, wasn't he? Yep, 4th. Yep,
yeah,
he was 4th.
Yeah, I think he was the highest tight ends ever went. He's another one that needs to get to a different team. Well, maybe he'll do good with Kirk Cousins this year.
I couldn't catch a cold.
Wait a minute. Okay. How do you say we're far from winning that hot trade yet? Because Sam Laporta is way better than TJ Hawkinson, and everybody that we got so far has been better for our team. Hell, the year we got rid of Hawkinson, we had more touchdowns from our 3 backups that were UDFA played than we got from TJ Hawkinson in 2 years.
I'll say this: the Rams might have won. The Rams might have won the trade for 1 year, getting Stafford winning the Super Bowl. But the Lions won the trade after that. Mm-hmm. After that haul,
he missed a year. That's as soon as he missed a year. Right, I wouldn't trade Brock for Hawk. I love the tight ends we got on our roster right now. James Mitchell, who can play fullback or tight end. We got a Lee McNeil that they're talking about running at fullback now because we have depth in the defensive tackle room now. You've never heard this stuff, even though I brought it up when we drafted him. Different team. Doesn't matter. And Laporta was a rookie. Compare rookie stats as undone. Don't compare a vet to a rookie. That makes about as much sense as wiping your butt than taking a crap.
What you like? No. I was going to say something about the Lions in that sentence, but I will refrain from doing so.
What did Laporta have? 900 yards this past year?
Yeah.
Was that?
Yeah, 893, something like that.
What didn't he have, like 10 touchdowns though too?
Yep, 10 touchdowns. Led the tight ends in touchdowns.
Yeah, I would say that's better than anything TJ Hawkinson's put up.
I mean, TJ Hawkinson wasn't a bad. Don't get me wrong. TJ Hawkinson wasn't a bad tight end at all. He wasn't.
Yeah, he wasn't. He's like a little above average.
The trade actually helped Minnesota because that's what kind of offense they run. See, TJ wasn't the kind of blocking guy either. They try to say, yeah, he blocks well, but no, he didn't block well. And he's more of one of those pass catching tight ends than he is a block and a pass catching tight end. Porter is that.
Why I hated the Hawkinson pick, because what I loved about it is what they put into his draft profile. they said that he is an extra tackle in the run game. Well, PFF run block grading for TJ Hawkinson, the 3 years he played in Detroit, year one was 102 out of 120 tackles and tight ends. Next year, he went down to 111, and when we traded him away, he was ranked 120th. So, therefore, yeah, he was an extra tackle. An extra guy that tackled on the ground in the run game. Yes, that's what he was.
Say he wasn't a good one with those stats.
I'll never forget the moment when the Lions, when we played them, granted it was the year, like I think it was Dan Campbell's first year, and they tried putting TJ Hawkinson blocking Matthew Judon, and Judon was like, "Oh, I'll get to the quarterback real quick."
Wait, yeah, I know.
So for the draft capital that we got from the Hawkinson trade, besides getting Laporta, we got Hooker and Arnold and Martin, because we got 7th round draft pick and a draft capital that that we got from them as a 7th round pick, and then we got 2 round picks from Minnesota. So out of those 3 draft picks, we got Hooker, Martin, and Arnold, and we got Laporta. So you can say we made a hell of a killing on that pick or that trade.
Martin, what position is he?
Defensive tackle. Roderick Martin.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He was a developmental guy that we took basically as a story pick.
Gotcha. So you guys got a good haul for that, then.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, do you not pay attention to the OTAs and what they're saying about guys and how they're working out?
You just got to excuse Undone. He's not really.
I was going to say, is Undone well mentally? Because I'm a Seahawks fan, and I'm asking this because I'm doing a welfare check, JB. I'm just wondering what the hell he's on. And
Undone can have some good takes, and then he can just have some real terrible takes. You gotta take and get for him. You know.
Hey, is Undone Jeremy? Is Undone really Mike Pike?
You mean David Pike?
David Pike?
No, I hope not.
Oh yeah, we're good. Will. We've been going at it 2 hours and 11 minutes, and I think I got to call it, people.
Sorry, JB, have we had all the takes on the Seahawks? Because I'm really interested in what you guys are saying.
I didn't say. You know what? I didn't say anything about the Seahawks.
No, I'm saying I'm interested to know where you place this, because I love hearing other teams where they think we'll be this year. That's what I meant.
2nd place at top, and I think 3rd place overall.
Yep.
I think to me, it's a solid 3. I think 8 to they were 9-8 last year. I could possibly see them get one more extra win. Like I said, the defense has got to gel under a new defensive. Actually, the head coach. So we'll just say the new defensive coordinator, because we all know the defensive coordinator is always a puppet. But anyway, when you do that, and on top of that, they got a new coach. So I mean, with all that to be gelling, yeah, I see 9 to 10. I don't think they're going to go down by any means. Yep. I think if they go up, they go up by 1 win or stay the same. I do. I don't think they're better than the Rams in San Francisco at this point, but they will be next season. I think they'll show up next season.
Awesome. So. All right. Thank you, JB, for putting up with my nonsense today.
Let's talk about those sponsors. I only got 2 now, so it goes a little quicker. And one,
fuck the Packers and fuck the Packers.
Yeah,
absolutely. Forget the Packers.
Oh, it's fuck. We're not on Roku tonight.
I'm sorry.
Fuck the Packers today.
Fuck the Packers.
Yeah, fuck the Packers.
All the Packers. Oh, sorry. I'm so used to being on the other channel, JB, and being nice.
I know. On Fridays when I do the Lions fan cave chat, and when we're just talking Lions news and you hop in, that's when we have to be nice and polite.
Right.
And we're on Roku too. But Brandon Service, right at the corner of South Grand Traverse and Atherton Road, 602 West Atherton Road is the address. Used tires starting at $40. If you need new tires, please call 810-233-8230 and talk to George Red or myself, Jeremy, and ask for your quote. If you mention this ad and you're getting a set of tires, we will knock $10 off the price.
And on top of that, that is in Flint, Michigan, where the water is bad, but the tires are good.
Amen.
I actually know someone from Flint. Yes. Yes. Sorry,
You two undone.
present company excluded, JB.
I hope everybody had a good Juneteenth. There's 45 minutes of it left. When did we get 65 holidays in a calendar year is what I want to know.
Hey, listen, America is great, but the winner of all obscure public holidays in the history of the universe is Australia, because there's some on the calendar, being born and raised Australian, I look at and go, what? So, yes, we have some obscure ones too.
Yeah.
Thank you, James. We could win double digits. I think you're being highly optimistic for us this year, but thank you, James.
Oh, like I said, if you start Sam Howell, I think you will be in double digits. If you don't, I think it'll be under that.
As I said, I have very low expectations with the new regime, so anything will be a bonus.
Oh, there will be a holiday added when the Lions win the Super Bowl.
Ain't nobody coming to work that next day. I'm telling you that. Detroit's going to shut down.
Hey, I wish.
I got Mondays off.
I wish I was in Seattle for the Super Bowl, but I was in Seattle for the 2022 Mariners run.
Detroit wins the Super Bowl. Everybody's going to be having Fords.
Right.
And you get a Ford.
You get a Ford.
And guess what, Jeremy?
It better be a F-150 because I don't want no other Fords. Or maybe
how like B-Dubs, they give you free wings, they'll give you free Fords.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear me? I don't care what Ford it is because I'm selling it.
That's right.
Saying, don't even give them. I'm General Motors.
I'll trade it for a Chevy.
Unless it's the Mustang or the GT90 they came out with.
Yeah, if it's an F-150 or a Mustang, I might keep it.
I'm GM here, boys, so no Fords for me.
Ford makes good trucks. They do make good trucks. You can't deny that. And Mustang is their car. So I'll take either one of those.
What is that? What the Mustang does when you drive it down the street? Shakes.
I'm not a big Mustang fan. I like Camaro.
They're nice to look at.
Probably hundreds of cartons of Camels for that.
Shake a Ford for a Camel. It'll be a luxury Camel at that. It's going to have 2 humps, not one. Better have 2 humps.
Oh, wow. Really?
Because I guarantee you, the Lions win the
Not that Camel. That's a tow.
Yeah, that's a tow.
What you do with your toes in Detroit, this Aussie does not listen on.
That being said, try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. It's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. Much love to everybody in the chat. So happy to have all of you here. Talk to you next week. Smoking.